Documentary Ice on Fire hit us with some pretty serious warnings about our planet. But, and this is the important part, it also showed us that we have this incredible toolbox of solutions ready to go. So that's what we're going to do here. We'll break down the crisis, and then we'll look at the very real path forward.
And this quote, man, it just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? It's a powerful way of saying, hey, this is our moment. The problem is happening on our watch. And because of that, the responsibility to fix it, that lands squarely on us. Right here, right now. So before we can even talk about the solutions, we have to get a really clear picture of the problem. We need to, take our planet's temperature and see just how high the fever really is. So let me ask you a question, just to frame this. We all know CO2 is up, but do you have a sense of how much it's up? Just try to imagine what the air was like before all the engines and factories, and then think about today. The jump is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Now look at this. For centuries, we were stable at about 280 parts per million. By 1968, we'd climbed to 322. But what's really wild is the jump to over 400 today. That line isn't just going up, it's going almost vertical. The acceleration is the scary part.
And that's exactly what you need to understand. For planet Earth, this isn't just some slow, gradual change. It's a shock, a sudden event. The scientists in the film literally call it an explosion. In the grand scheme of things, it happened in the blink of an eye.
But as alarming as all that CO2 stuff is, it's not even the whole story. There's another player in this game, a much more potent one, that's lurking up in the Arctic. Scientists are calling it a feedback loop, a methane time bomb.
In the heart of this time bomb is something called permafrost. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant natural freezer. It's land that's been frozen solid for thousands of years, and it's got all this old plant matter locked inside, full of carbon and methane. Now get ready for this number. The amount of carbon that's trapped in that frozen ground is 4 times more than all the carbon we've ever released from burning fossil fuels. Let that sink in for a second. 4 times. It's a colossal amount, just waiting. And this is the dangerous part. It's a cycle that can feed itself. The planet gets warmer, right? So the permafrost starts to thaw. That thaw releases methane gas, which is a super potent greenhouse gas. That, in turn, makes the planet even warmer, which thaws more permafrost. You see the problem? It's a vicious cycle. And if you think this sounds like some far-off, invisible problem, think again. Scientists actually found a methane cloud over the United States that was the size of the state of Delaware. They could see it from space. This is happening on a massive, massive scale. Okay, deep breath. I know that was a lot of pretty grim news, but this is the moment where the whole story pivots, because the film makes it incredibly clear that we have answers, we have solutions, and a lot of them are about working with nature, not against it. So where do we start? Well, let's head to the ocean. We usually think of the ocean as a victim in all this, but it turns out it could be one of our biggest allies, thanks to something called ocean farming. And the superstar of ocean farming is kelp. I mean, this stuff is just incredible. For starters, it sucks up 5 times more CO2 than plants on land. We can also turn it into clean fuel and food. And get this, if you add a little bit to cow feed, it cuts their methane burps by up to 90%. It's a triple win. All right, next up, we're moving from the ocean to our forests. There's this amazing solution that takes something that's actually a huge risk, like dead trees that fuel wildfires, and turns it into this incredible carbon-capturing thing called biochar. So here's how it works, and it's pretty genius. You basically cook dead wood without much oxygen, and it turns into this super stable charcoal. When you put that in the ground, it brings dead soil back to life, and it locks away carbon for hundreds of years. The potential here is huge. We're talking billions of tons of CO2. So we've got nature's playbook, right? But what about human ingenuity? Well, this is where we get into some seriously cool, cutting-edge technology that can actually start to reverse the damage by pulling carbon right out of the air. First up is something called direct air capture, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. Imagine these huge walls of fans that, instead of just moving air around, are actually filtering it, pulling the CO2 directly out of the atmosphere.
But here's where it goes from science fiction to science fact. In Iceland, they're taking that CO2 they capture, pumping it underground, and with a little help from nature, they're turning it into solid rock. It's like alchemy. They're literally turning air pollution into stone, locking it away forever. And for the grand finale, we've got something that honestly sounds like it's from 100 years in the future, but it's happening right now. They call it the bionic leaf.
This is a total game changer. This artificial leaf just uses sunlight, air, and water. That's it. And it can create clean fuel, fertilizer, even food. And here's the kicker. It does the job 10 times better, 10 times more efficiently than a real plant. It's like nature's best idea, but supercharged.
So, after all that, the scary stuff and the hopeful stuff, we're left with this one big question. The challenge is huge, no doubt about it, but the tools to fix it, they're here. They're real. So the film leaves us thinking it's not a question of if we can do it anymore. It's a question of if we will. Game on.